The eAssist Dental Solutions podcast. We are the nation's leader in outsourced dental billing. Our clients require highly skilled dental office managers that can consult with client offices.
Welcome to the eAssist Dental Solutions podcast. I am your host, Andres Quintana, and I am here in Wake Forest, North Carolina, ready to podcast with you about dental billing and the dental billing world. And today we have a special guest, Angel Schultze, and she is in the Midwest. And Angel is a very, very important part of the eAssist team. Angel, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
I am so great. You know, it is a Monday and it's getting cold here in the South. And but life is great because I am used to cold weather as I am from the Northeast, and we have been so lucky that the temperature here has been so incredible. But how is it by you?
It snowed yesterday.
Did it? Oh my goodness! How many inches did you get?
Oh, I didn't measure inches. It was enough to cover everything, and with nice, big, huge, fat flakes. But by the evening, everything was gone. So
right. Yes.
The foothills are still totally covered, though.
Oh, goodness. So I am so excited to speak with you tonight because, you know, we take care of things like dental issues, of course. That's the main thing that we talk about. We have offices around the country that have account receivable problems. They really need help with the skyrocketing accounts receivable problems, which in a lot of offices can get out of hand. Also, another point that we want to drive home is how we take and help dental offices with patients that, for example, the staff doesn't have enough time to do it all. And we also have a lot of times one person in charge of doing most of the jobs that are so important for the dental office. And you play a big role in that. And the last thing that I really want to tackle with you, because you're also a big part of that, is the issue of, you know, white patients might be leaving offices. So are you ready to start?
I'm ready.
Oh, well, I've been trying to get you on the show for a few weeks now, and this is great that I have you here tonight. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about how you joined eAssist?
Well, it's actually kind of interesting. I was actually kind of on a personal standpoint, I had a lot of chaos going in my life, and I had attempted to move to Las Vegas to take this, what I thought was my dream job. And then through a series of events was unable to take that position. So I found myself looking for a job. And I swear I found eAssist on Craigslist. I totally thought it was a scam. And so I decided that I was going to, check it out anyways. And when I started taking the test, I was at home and I kind of just sat down and thought, I'm just going to do it all at once. And I was laughing hysterically because I could tell, I was like, dear Lord, a dentist has designed this exam. Nobody in their right mind would put this much effort into a scam. And that was kind of my first indication that it was the real deal. But yeah, it was honestly, I think, out of one of those unusual life circumstances of just having a lot of chaos and being in more of a desperate manner, that I think, had the wherewithal to even, give it a try.
And you're really someone to trust about whether things can be a scam or not, because I understand that you have many years in dental. At this time, how long were you working in the industry?
At that point in time, it was close to 15 years.
Wow.
In the dental industry. Yeah.
So nobody really can throw you a curveball. And so you were able to really pick out whether or not this was legitimate. And then the rest is history. So how did then getting a position with eAssist, just tell us a little bit, all the audience out there that's dying to hear how eAssist has changed your life.
For me, everybody kind of has their own story. At that point in time in my life, had a lot of chaos, newly divorced. My kids had gone through a lot of trauma. And, found myself in a really, just a space in life where I wasn't sure what I needed to do and wasn't even sure how to care for my children at that point in time and a lot of obstacles. And And one of the things for me, looking back, that I really, feel like it was just a huge blessing that I stumbled upon eAssist was, I've been with eAssist for several years now, but, at the beginning for several years, my children required on average around eight appointments a week for doctor's appointments and therapy. And the huge blessing for me with eAssist was enabling me to have a career, enabling me to put food on the table for my children, and at the same time, giving me the flexibility that I needed to be able to get my kids to their therapy, to their doctor's appointments, and really be able to rehabilitate them through this trauma process. There's absolutely no way if I would have had a traditional job that would have been possible. I would have been given the choice that, most everybody in America has of, tending to your children or putting food on the table. And that's not really much of a choice at all.
I can relate to that story because I have a child with special needs. He has autism and he's high functioning. And now, the worst is over. He's doing so great. He's a teenager. He just
Right.
did very well this year in cross country. He's a runner, one of the only
Awesome.
team sports, that he could ever do. But really smart boy. But early on, when we needed early intervention, I had some of the same issues. If I had had an eAssist, maybe my career would have been a little bit more involved, in the corporate world. But looking back at it, one of the things I had to do was to cut back. I actually had to sell my practice and help Dr. Quintana, help Jane Quintana, my wife, run a better practice because we didn't have a company like eAssist. So I really feel that close to my heart there, your story. So now let's get really into the meat of what we're going to talk about tonight, because you are on a mission. You are on a mission, Angel, to provide information technologies to all of these offices, including, our company eAssist. And you always have this attitude, and especially when I called you early on, when we first joined as clients, that you were always there to help. How do you manage always sounding in that way, that you're always there to help? Can you tell me a little bit about that? You didn't see that coming, right?
No, I didn't see that one coming. I think if I were to be very honest, that's the part of my job that I like the most. I've been in the office, I've ran offices, and I understand the stress. I know what you guys face on a day-to-day basis. And so when I have an opportunity, and it's usually compartmentalized of, I can't take all of your stresses and worries away for the day. But when you have the opportunity to call me and I can just wave my magic little wand and make that problem go away from you, I understand the difference that it makes for you. And the stress that it relieves off of you. And it gives me intense satisfaction. When I'm sitting with my inanimate objects and I'm working on computers and I feel like beating them, even when I conquer an inanimate object and I get it to do what I want, there's definitely not the same sense of satisfaction, because the computer doesn't really appreciate that I made it behave itself. Where, when I'm dealing with the offices, when, we do have that FaceTime and I can help, make a difference for them, it's great. It trickles down, honestly, not only just to the staff and to the doctors, but ultimately it trickles down to the patients. So.
Yeah, that's great. And you what you do is you enhance the security by putting in certain tools that, maybe the audience that's listening to right now may not even be aware, because some of it is in the process and of it all. Some of it is before issues take place, and a lot of it too is after something takes place. How do you educate our audience, our listeners, about what is involved in all of that process?
Well, I think it's an excellent question, and there's a lot of layers to the question, and so I could probably talk to you about this for a couple of hours by itself, so I'll try to simplify it. First of all, a lot of thought has gone into the actual tools and the software that we use. And it's powerful equipment, it's powerful tools. So when we're coming to an office, regardless of the size of the office, regardless of the sophistication of the office, with their set up from a security standpoint or electronic standpoint, we come fully intact to be able to meet the offices wherever they're at. and to ensure that we've got the HIPAA security regulations managed, and that we're meeting those regulations and we're maintaining them. And so we've got a plethora of tools, to be honest. We've got the VPN that we bring to the table, which of course is really nice because especially for some of the smaller offices, it's super overwhelming to think, how am I going to bring this person in and not jeopardize my data? How do I get the help that I need without feeling like I'm opening up Pandora's box, right? And so we're able to go in and we're able to provide the protection that they need to know that we can come into the office. We can take, the billing portion off of their plate or whatever portion that they purchase the services for, and that we do it in a manner to, typically we enhance their security. And so it just ends up being a huge relief, for the client. One of the areas I think that we've probably had the biggest impact on offices is our communication. We're able to send encrypted emails. We're able to store, things in an encrypted manner to meet that HIPAA security, regulation. And a lot of offices struggle with how to communicate with us. So when we come with those tools intact, it's really a huge advantage to the offices that they're able to maximize those tools. And so they are able to share them with us so that way we can communicate securely.
That is so true. I kind of know a little bit about everything that you're talking about because I love technology. But the truth is, going back to the beginning where we started, is that a lot of these dental offices that are struggling and with their accounts receivables going out of control, and the dentists producing so much more than they're collecting, they're not aware that this is important to you, right? But in order for us to complete the process to get into their office and make everything run smoothly, some of this infrastructure has to be in place. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I think, one of the nature of the beast is you've got these dentists that sometimes are, they're swimming with the sharks, right? Mm-hmm. The sharks are circling them, and they are just simply trying to get their head above water just enough to take a deep breath. And to be honest, security may not be even on their radar, right? Exactly. They are drowning. And so one of the things that's great is that regardless of what the capacity is when they're coming, and you've got to meet everybody where they're at, right? And so, some doctors find themselves in just, maybe an economy, the local economy has totally tanked and it totally impacts their practice, right? And they're dealing with that. And that becomes the number one. It's kind of like in an ER, you know what I mean? Someone might have heart disease, but, when they're bleeding out of an artery, the bleeding out of the artery takes place first, right? That's the most, dire situation that has to be addressed. Well, in dentistry, it's the same way. It's whatever's the most pressing, dire issue is kind of where the focus goes because it has to be there. But the nice thing with, eAssist is, they may have their focus on that one spot that they feel like they're bleeding out. And it's okay because when we come to the table, we actually help them in all these different areas that it may take them 6 months before they really look back and go, wow, you've totally covered my bacon. We've got them covered. And so it really is, it's a great solution because we're able to, deal with the entire office versus just, coming in and only dealing with one specific problem. We're able to actually see, if you will, the whole patient at the time.
I was just going to tell you that because, we're only scratching the surface here, right? But you have just, for example, done all of the implementation to make an office run great. And so now the staff wins because they're getting back to, building relationship with their teams. For example, management now can help their teams perform better. And then the teams can help build relationships with the patients, which is what the doctors really want. And then, do you ever hear these stories so that you yourself, Angel, can celebrate some of these victories?
Oh, I do hear the stories, and we've got such an interesting relationship with offices and with the teams. We have the Happy Help Desk, right? So, we really stay in touch. and we get to see people through the process. And so it's probably one of the most rewarding things is to see these teams and see these offices flourish and to see them, be able to pick up new goals, pick up, new strategies. It's pretty fascinating. And so with the teams, I think just being able to see them deepen their relationship with the offices, I don't know how to explain it. It's a great thing to watch. Even sometimes when we're a little bit removed. I mean, our goal from the IT side, to be honest, is we want it to look like everything is just kind of magic on the back end. We know it puts in a lot of effort on our side, but if it looks like magic for everybody else, that's really where we want to be. Offices need to be able to focus on the patients. They need to be able to focus on patient care. And that's what eAssist does. And so that for us is what the big win is.
I agree with you. And then in the dental office, we talked about managers being able to take time off, of course, when eAssist is in the picture, because they don't have to do it all the time. And so then you have the entire collections mechanism running smoothly when you on the other side can keep an eye on these numbers, because you have teams that are working all over the country. And all of these offices and their computers have to be running great. In some regards, Angel, I'll be honest with you, common sense tells me that with you in the picture, I think it's even better to have a separate set of eyes. For example, if I'm in my office and I have no eAssist involved, I have to rely on something, going wrong for me to notice. But if I have my IT people ready to go when I need them, but if I have eAssist also working with me, you might notice something that maybe I don't know it's coming down the pike. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I agree 100%. I can't tell you how often, we'll come from the IT side and we're calling the office up, letting them know that we see something that we have a concern about or something that, we'd like them to address. And most of the time, I'll tell you, we're right on the ball. We've got it faster than anybody else sees it. And, it's created some really great relationships with the office IT also, because all of a sudden what they realize now is that not only on the dental side, right, so that the team becomes an extension of that office's team. And so now all of a sudden, you've got a bigger team, right? Well, with the IT, it works the same way. And so not only are we working for the offices, but we also work cooperatively with the IT team. And so then all of a sudden, again, it's that same thing of where there becomes this reliance that we get to actually, help each other out. And so when we see things, we'll tag the office, we'll tag the IT office staff, and we're able to resolve things. We're a lot more proactive. It definitely makes a huge difference.
And the reason we bring that up is because we want to make sure that the EOBs are organized, that all the adjustments are properly posted, and that in the beginning of the show, I mentioned that, patients, there's a trend out there that patients are leaving certain offices, and that could be because of billing issues, people getting statements and amounts paid not being correct. Well, eAssist is going to be doing that remotely for all of these offices. And then the team, you're always there to double check it. So there's just another set of eyes. And when patients are happy because everything is in order, I think that just makes it for a more natural flow. And then the team, let's go back to, what happens with the teams. Teams really become frustrated when the office doesn't run well. And you've been in the dental industry for a long time. Can you give me an example of that? Offices that you noticed that just when nobody's running, things aren't running great, what seems to happen to teams working together?
I like to call it the chaos factor. Every office has a chaos factor. Where you see the bigger chaos factors is often multiple location practices. That all of a sudden creates an exponential chaos factor. And it's a fascinating thing to see. You can't manage a multiple location practice the same way that you manage a single doctor location. And so there's the skill sets dramatically different. And of course, depending on the skill set of the people that are on the team, we can definitely have some chaos factor. There's actually, software that plays into this chaos factor that makes it very difficult for teams to do their work. And so what happens is the trickle down effect is, you've got a doctor that's stressed out because the doctor is very well aware that there's just massive chaos in the office. And it almost gets to the point of overwhelming where they don't know, what do I need to fix first? Like, how do you even put this back together again? It's Humpty Dumpty, has broken. How do we put Humpty Dumpty back together again? And the reality of it is when a patient comes into the office, I really believe that, humans have this ability that we're able to sense the environment without anybody opening up their mouth and speaking. And so when you walk into these offices and the stress levels are over the top and everybody is just, they're drowning daily in these levels of stress and chaos, it trickles down to the patient. And to be honest, we make a lot of jokes about people being fearful of the dentist, but the reality of it is still one of those areas that people really do have high anxiety, even just walking into the dental office. And so you really have to be conscientious to create a very well-run machine in your office, and that you need to have your staff supported in an avenue so that when they're greeting the patient, that patient walks in, they understand that 100% of that greeting from that team member is really focused on them, and that they know that they have the emotional ability to help them through their appointment and through that experience in the dental office. So, quite honestly, one of the fascinating things with eAssist is that, first of all, we're all over the U.S., right? And
That's
so
right.
what's super fascinating about this company, one of the things that I love is, I work with offices from Hawaii all the way to New York, Florida, right? The whole gamut. And my ability to learn and just to see the different ideas and the different solutions and the different way of doing dentistry has really compounded for me. I've learned more than, you could say, my last 10 years, at the last job that I had, in just the exposure. So what's happening with these, doctors that are coming to eAssist is they are being able to take advantage of that, escalated learning curve you will take from eAssist. We can now share solutions that are working all over the U.S. That's not something that dental offices are typically able to actually take advantage of. They're typically very regional and very, focused on just kind of where they're at. And so we're really able to expand the horizons with them with ideas, solutions. It's pretty exciting to see.
If I was listening right now in the car, I would want to make a call right away. So I'm going to give the number out, which is 844 eAssist or 844-327-7478. And our website is eAssist.com. Angel, you have just given us so many pearls and nuggets, because the truth is, I made that call because my team was growing. My office was asking us to give it more in terms of improving the service, some of the things that you just talked about, reducing the chaos. Like, we have what I think it's, the perfect team. You could have the perfect team out there, but then if things aren't running properly, there's going to be chaos. We were talking, you and I had a conversation before we started the show about what Mondays are like, huh? And so you can
Yes.
have a normal Monday, or you can really, really have a Monday. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. No, the chaos factor to me is it's a funny thing, but at the same time, it really is very real. Honestly, I've been in offices where you go to set them up, and we like to use the phrase, you only know what you know, right? Mm-hmm. And there's often times I see these offices, they're set up for failure. They're set up with software that's not compatible with each other, but nobody's told them that, right? So they're putting in all this effort and they just simply can't get ahead. And, I'm able to sometimes look at it and say, yeah, no, it's not going to play nice together. And being able to create these custom solutions for every office in order to maximize what they've got going for them and to get the maximum results, it really is monumental. But I think the other element on that whole chaos factor is, when you feel like you're on that sinking ship in the ocean, mm-hmm. when you have somebody throwing you a life vest, right? There's such an immense power in that, and knowing that you're not alone in this process, mm-hmm. that we're going to dump our resources and everything behind us to help you. And that cooperative spirit is really phenomenal. And it really does help, little bit by little bit to help to eliminate some of those daily chaoses. And the eAssist teams, I mean, they're so amazing, and they're able to take bite sizes, for the offices and let them know, if we tweak this right here, this might actually, net a different result for you here. And to be able to see the growth, and then, ultimately you've got happier doctors, you have happier staff, you have happier patients. But I think from the business, spectrum of it is that you become more profitable, right? And that is what's really huge, is to have everything work together, and then to see the net result at the end is to see the profitability and then just the enjoyment in the process. And, we all know, like dentists, they come to dentistry and they want to work on patients. They want to fix teeth. They don't want to deal with stupid claim forms. They don't want to, deal with stupid computers, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we're able to help them out of that, chaos and that abyss, it brings for, a lot of the doctors, the joy of dentistry back, because that's why they got into dentistry, not to deal with computers, not to deal with,
That is
claims.
Exactly it. Wow, beautifully put. I've got two more things that I want to talk about. I had them in a certain order, but I'm going to just switch it up a little bit. Just because you're on a roll, so this is kind of related to it. But what factors, I know you're not cookie cutter, what factors do you think go into deciding the level of security that you're going to bring to an office?
I think one of the things that's pretty exciting is that, we have everything that we need to make sure that we meet the security regulations. We come fully intact. Sometimes we work with these offices that have done a phenomenal job. They've partnered with these amazing IT firms, and their security is top notch. Mm-hmm. And then at that point, all of a sudden, then it provides some more options on whether, we use a solution from the office versus our solution. And so, then the conversations get to be more expanded. But I think that the most amazing thing is that it doesn't matter what the office comes to us with, that we can make sure that we meet those security measures.
Wow. Before that last question I had, I just want to let you know that the reason we're talking all about this, or about all of this, I should say, is because, we have offices that struggle and their EOBs get out of control. I know we said that a little bit ago, but we also have offices that have issues with denied claims and late claims. And we also have offices sitting on claims that they can't send because they have either staff that feels overwhelmed, inexperienced, right? And all of these factors, you don't need another headache, and we could go on because these are only 3 points or 3 products, I should say. These are only 3 products that I mentioned just now. eAssist has much more than that. Is there anything that pops into your head, in addition to those 3 products, that you, being in the dental industry, can educate our audience about?
Okay, so one of the things that's near and dear to my heart, we talked earlier, I have my MBA. I love numbers. I'm a complete geek, okay? Love accounting. And so I have to tell you, one of the most amazing services that I think that we offer is actually our dental accounting services. That is probably one of the biggest needs out in the dentist industry right now. And it is such a phenomenal thing. Oftentimes what happens is, the dental office is doing their stuff, right? And somebody goes and deposits the money into the bank. And then that's kind of all that they do. Dental accounting offers us the opportunity to go in and to make sure that, if we told Dentrix that, we deposited $10,000 today, that we can go over to the bank account and say $10,000 actually made it here. It's a phenomenal product, and it's something that most dental offices don't have the time for, and they definitely don't have the resources for. And so again, that goes into that whole idea of having somebody being able to look over the entire finances for the practice. And it's just an incredible product. And so that's probably one that I don't think a lot of people know about, but I would say absolutely incredible what we can do for these offices and, getting the finances overall lined out.
And if there's anything that we missed, you can simply go back and listen to our previous 14 episodes, because the amount of information that we have shared with the eAssist team has been so deep, so incredibly valuable that it just makes it easy for someone listening to make the decision to go to eAssist.com and give us a call at a toll-free number. Angel, I've got one more question for you, and this one is a little bit personal to you. You don't have to mention any names, no specifics about an office, but at the end of the day, has there been an office where you have done an incredible job of just being successful with their getting them to the next level and helping that office? Can you tell me a little story about that?
I have a lot of stories, and so it's super hard to pick one, but I'm going to pick one, and I'm not even sure it's going to be my favorite one, but
okay.
I had an office in multiple locations, and they really were having a massive issue with their insurance claims not getting paid. And so through the course of installation, I had an aha moment. And I realized there was a constraint of the dental software, and it was literally messing up their e-claim submission. So we created a customized solution. We literally had to actually adapt the registry file for multiple users in order to overcome the inadequacy of the dental software. And I think that was probably one of our biggest wins because, it was an issue that had gone on for so long. We couldn't figure it out. And we finally not only identified the problem, but we came up with a creative solution. The dental software company didn't know how to resolve their own issue. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? And so that was such an amazing difference. And being able to really go in and, it was definitely added, hours on the IT side, but it made such a night and day difference for this dental practice. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was such a huge win, really, really huge win, because it was an unusual problem and a solution that we were able to finally figure out for them. So they're still clients with us today. I still actually, the practice manager actually has my cell phone. So it's not uncommon for him to text me or call me. We're on a first name basis. And so that, that is definitely one of those I look back in a huge, huge success story that we overcame the constraints of the dental software. It was pretty awesome.
Wow. Well, Angel, this has been such a pleasure to speak with you tonight. You have, I think, proved that even myself, I can go back to the dental office tomorrow and get motivated. I'm actually more pumped up about going back to the office tomorrow and increasing or paying more attention to be able to increase my collection rates. And for all of you listening out there, you can start today with no risk and you can cancel at any time, which is not something I like to talk about, but eAssist does make it easy for you to have it your way. Well, Angel, I really appreciate you coming on the program. I am so happy that we talked about, IT and information technology, which is so important, but we also talked about dental success and dental billing, which you had so much experience about. I would love for you to come on the show again, and I really appreciate it, and I just want to wish you a great week.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed tonight. Thank you.
And have a great week, everybody.
We hope that you have enjoyed this episode of the eAssist Dental Solutions podcast. We love to put the spotlight on the individuals for their outstanding work for our clients.